Well, it's Tuesday and we're back at the paint booth again today because, as I say, I hate to paint simply because it so often goes wrong. When it has most often gone wrong with me is when I'm attempting to airbrush water-based acrylics. But check it out. We've had success. I think I'm finally getting to the point where I feel comfortable with this. In large part because of comments made here on the show, all kinds of people jumping in saying, well, don't do that, do this, and here's the reason why. And these have been very valuable comments, and finally I'm getting some success, largely based on these comments. Now, there's been a small bit of confusion by some people on why I'm using plastic spoons as a test bed. They're one of the great test beds, and lots of people use them. The key is they have to be primed. I'm using Tamiya Surface Primer, which is my go-to primer, and then shooting that on these plastic spoons. And then at that point, they make just a great test bed for trying out different things. The curved surface really shows up any kind of imperfections in the paint, any orange peel and that sort of thing. So they're just a great test bed. As I've mentioned, I use the Badger 150. It's an adequate but not excellent airbrush, and typically I have shot with these things, lacquer thinner and Mr. Color's leveling thinner, which is just awesome when doing solvent-based lacquers. But if you get either one of these things anywhere near your water-based acrylics, the water-based acrylics turn into some sort of rubbery goo that you will spend the next 2 hours cleaning out of your airbrush. So as I mentioned last week, what I have historically used is U.S. Art Supply Airbrush Color Thinner, and then I've got a completely separate airbrush just for doing water-based acrylics. And of course, last week's big test was, can we substitute the U.S. Art Supply thinner with windshield washer fluid? Because there's a lot of people online saying that really works well. So do watch last week's show on that. Oddly enough, it makes a pretty good thinner. This was a problem that I had last week, and it's a problem I've had forever, and that's these little fisheye pinholes. And this is not over bare plastic, this is over primer. So what the heck? And a lot of people commented, this is because you're overly thinning the mixture. And here's a somewhat heavier mixture, and you can see still has some of those little fish eyes. Again, watch last week's video and this will all make sense. But the windshield washer fluid did a pretty adequate job, but the commenters jumped in saying, well, the blue color is a problem. Okay, yes, that's a problem, but the bigger problem, somebody pointed out, is it has a surfactant in it, a soap. And a lot of people were commenting saying they actually intentionally add a little tiny bit of like dishwasher soap as in their thinner to help it flow, and it does help it flow. But somebody pointed out that if you put a surfactant in your thinner, your paint is no longer waterproof. If it gets wet, the surface will be destroyed. And even applying a second coat, the second coat's going to attack the first. So there's your problem when using any kind of a surfactant in your thinner, soap or windshield washer fluid or anything. Here's the best results I was able to get with windshield washer fluid, and it's not too bad. This is also just using craft paint from Walmart, which actually can be airbrushed quite successfully if it's properly thinned. So I felt like these test spoons came out pretty decent. There's some little tiny lumps in here from the craft paint. I think craft paint needs to be run through one of those super fine mesh strainers if you're going to use it. But overall, it looked pretty good. But the best painters that are out there online are making their own thinner. And after watching their videos, it became sort of clear why. And that's that you probably want to make adjustments to your thinner based on what you're attempting to do. So these are the three ingredients that I'm going to be using in making my own thinner. distilled water, isopropyl alcohol, and Vallejo's airbrush flow improver. The isopropyl, this is 91%. You can use 70%. It just changes the blend between water and alcohol depending on how much alcohol there is. What we're after is a 2-to-1 mix with more or less pure alcohol, 2 parts water to 1 part alcohol. So if your alcohol is 70%, for example, then it's going to be 1-to-1 because your alcohol is already dilute. I'm using these little needle squeezy bottles that you can get off Amazon. They come in a lot of different sizes. This is sort of a medium size, which is quite adequate for what we're doing. So here's a 2-to-1 mixture, and then I'm also mixing up a 2-to-1 mixture with Vallejo's airbrush flow improver added, just 10% of that. So then I have the 2 different mixtures. The flow improver is designed to really slow down the drying of the paint so that the paint has an opportunity to level. Any stippling in there, any orange peel will slowly level out as the paint dries. I'm keeping a small bottle of the windshield washer fluid. I'm not going to be using that as thinner, but it does make a great fluid for just cleaning out the airbrush. However, I do have this airbrush cleaner, and it really works great. Probably works marginally better than windshield washer fluid, and I keep it in this really large squeezy bottle because you tend to go through quite a bit of it. Also, some of the commenters suggested bringing the air pressure down. I typically airbrush at 25 psi. I've brought it down to 20 psi. Let's see if that makes any difference. So I'm going to start here by just running some airbrush cleaner through the brush, make sure the mechanism's all clear and that everything's working fine. I'm going to try using Citadel's figure acrylics. It's a water-based acrylic. I've not tried airbrushing with it. I always use this for painting figures. It's my go-to paint for figure painting. But let's see how it airbrushes. It should work just fine if it's thinned correctly. I'm mixing right here in the color cup. That way I can use the gradations on the pipette here to determine exactly my paint to thinner ratio. When you're doing this, be sure to put the thinner in the color cup first, otherwise you can end up with a glob of unthinned paint down in the bottom of the color cup. So this is 2 parts paint to 1 part thinner, which is a suggested ratio again from a lot of the commenters. I would thin my lacquers much more than this, but for using the acrylics, too much thinner really creates a problem. That's where you can end up with those little fisheye holes. You have to have a much heavier paint when working with the water-based acrylics. Now, when working with lacquers, I've always put on a very thin first coat, and in fact putting the paint on in thin coat layers. And I'd like to do that with the acrylics. That should produce a much better result. But I found if I put a thin coat like this on first, it was always full of fisheye holes, and it didn't work at all. This is a kind of grainy surface on my first pass. I just put a nice light coat on here. But I think this is going to work out okay. If this were lacquer, I'd want to thin it some more, but I know better than to try that with the water-based acrylics. So I'm going to assume that this is a good first coat and move on from there. The first coat dried almost immediately. A properly thinned and lightly applied coat, it dried in just like 1 minute. So I'm ready to move on now with a second pass on here. The paint is going on with, quite a bit of orange peel, but I'm counting on that leveling itself out as the paint dries. That's why you want to slow down the drying process so that the paint does have an opportunity to flatten out. And as you can see, as it dried, it did. Most of that orange peel disappeared. So I'm going to go ahead and apply a third final coat here, a bit heavier, so that I can really count on this self-leveling and really smoothing out as it dries. So my first reaction is, yuck! but there's so much orange peel here. But the proof will be what I've got when it's had a chance to level, self-level, and dry. So here's what it looked like after it dried. That's a fairly reasonable surface on there. Not perfect, but that's pretty reasonable. That's actually adequate, I think, for most situations. So I went ahead and did a second spoon. This time I used just a hint more thinner in there. I mean, just the tiniest splash more so that it could level a little bit better. And I think the second spoon, which is the one here on the left, has turned out a little bit better. But both of them have a fairly reasonable surface. But where the issue is this sort of orange peel quality, let's try using the Vallejo airbrush flow improver, which is supposed to help eliminate that problem by really slowing down the drying process and really allowing the paint to self-level. So let's get another very light first coat on here. It's going on very much like the regular thinner without the flow improver, possibly a little less granulated surface. Again, we won't really know what we've got until we give it like 1 minute or so to dry. And then just as before, two heavier coats, but not super heavy. The final coat here being the heaviest of the two next coats. And then we'll give this, it's going to take this probably 10 minutes or so to actually dry. It's really a slow drying process now with the flow improver in here. So initially it's looking kind of orange peely, but let's see what it does as it dries. It actually took, I would guess 20 minutes for it to really set up properly, but it was fun to watch it because as it was setting up, you could actually watch the orange peel slowly smoothing out across the surface. And for the first time ever, I've got an airbrushed water-based acrylic paint job here that I feel comfortable with. This, I think, is an adequate paint job, rivaling the lacquer that I have historically used. So here are my 3 spoons. First one on the right, second one in the middle, and the final one with the flow improver at the left. All of them are pretty decent, but especially the one to the far left is a pretty darn good finish on there. And the application was pretty simple. I liked mixing the colors directly in the color cup using markings on the pipette to determine my mixture. Of course, there's no stink or, toxic fumes involved here. That's a plus. But I think the biggest plus here, the thing I like the most, is that the cleanup is so much simpler. I simply unhook the airbrush from the hose, run water through it in the sink and clean it all out, and then run some airbrush cleaner through the mechanism to make sure there's nothing up inside. If I want to really do a thorough cleaning, then I can dismantle the gun, which is a nice thing to do from time to time. But generally speaking, just running it through the sink and then running some cleaner through it is all that's needed. Anyway, success! If you're not a subscriber to the channel, please subscribe. And the easy way to do that is clicking on the blue button. Zoink! Right there, the blue button. Well, we're not sure how you found this video on the internet. We hope you didn't find it boring. And Karen and I will see you here on Sunday. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.